Right, I've just come back into the source here because I want to just come right before the actual Pyrosource spread node. Drop a transform. I'm just going to lift everything a tiny bit, okay? Just so that the source of the flames at the bottom here, the volume source at the bottom doesn't get cut off by the collider that we're going to drop in, and also, you know, the fact that we've got a collision with the, you know, everything under 0 will be cut off. If you remember in the sim here, we've got it closed below 0, right? So I don't want to lose that. So we're just going to lift it up a tiny bit by 0.05, I think I want. And then you see it just pop up a tiny bit. Okay, and that should bring in the volume. So if we go down and look at the actual volumes there, maybe if we press spacebar and 2, I believe, 3, there we go. You can see there's still a little bit under, but you know, where most of the volume is above 0, so we're not gonna lose that, right? Also, let's build that collider. So I'm gonna come right to the top here and just drop a, oops, let's press collision source. Okay, drop that in. By the way, one thing I realized as well, you know, we did speak about it in the first week, but I'm just going to come into the viewport, press D, turn off this limit resolution. I forgot to do it earlier. That previous flipbook was probably affected by that, right? So it will look. We'll do another flipbook in a moment, and it'll probably look a lot smoother. So for the collision source, just like before. We've used these before. In the previous week we didn't have any collider, so yeah, we're generating polygons and a VDB as well. So on this side we'll have a VDB, as you can see there. Okay, and then that's controlled by the volume here. We don't need anything really high res. I'm going to come down to 0.04. just so we get a general, you know, the general shape of these pieces. They're not moving, so, you know, it's not going to be too heavy on the simulation, and this isn't being built every time, you know, it's not animated, so, you know, it's just made once and then that's fine. Let's give these names. Out call VDB, and this will be out call polygons. Okay, let's see, and I think that's it. That's all we need to do. We don't have any animation, so I'm just going to turn that off just to be safe. And velocity, I will just turn that off. We don't need to generate any velocity attributes. Okay, just the polygon geometry there and the VDB here, and then we'll bring that into our simulation here. So we'll grab a static object, okay, merge that into our stream like that. Swap these round. I always do that just by habit, but it is important for the you know, for the relationship to work. Yeah, we need to connect up this subpath, so that will be for the polygonal geometry. So go into our source, out call pol. Okay, and then we're going to be using a volume collision, so we go into volume here, and I want to use volume sample, which will use the volume that we created in. It doesn't build its own volume, it uses a volume that we created, and we need to set the path to that, which is the call VDB there. Okay, and then just to check, we can view the polygonal geometry there, and we can view the VDB here. Hopefully it's taking a bit of time, hopefully it doesn't crash. And there we have it. Okay, so I'm going to turn that off because it is heavy to visualize. I'll leave that off as well, actually. I don't want to see the that geometry. Oh, I've added this prematurely. I'll add that in a moment. Again, so that's, you know, the next, well, a step that we're going to take in a moment. Just before that, in the pyro solver itself, I'm going to drop down the buoyancy a little bit. Okay, so, well, quite a bit actually, to 0.5. Oh, where's my pad not working? There we go, 0.5. And yeah, add a little bit of temperature diffusion. So, you know, it makes sense for temperature to diffuse a little bit. So hot areas will heat the surrounding cooler areas a little bit. Okay, so they will blur a little bit. So, you know, be careful with this. A high value can reduce the kind of those crispy details that we kind of like, but you know, it is natural. It does, you know, it's physically correct to have just a little bit of this, but as I said, be careful with it. So I'm going to do one more flipbook with, well, more because I turned this off and I want to compare with, we're going to do one with the shredding in a moment. We're going to add the shredding and I want you to see the difference of that. Maybe I'll just do, don't need to do 120, I'll just do like 50 frames. Oop, where's that? 50 frames, okay, and then we'll add the shredding and compare the two. There we go, so we got the one flipbook there. You can see it's smoother now, I think. Just got a couple of frames, but enough just to see those flames again, that they, you know, they're kind of straight. So I'm going to click on this disconnect, okay, so that will, when I record another flipbook, it won't record over. We did it the other way before, but you know, you can do, they work this way. It will open a new window, okay. So I'm going to minimize that, and then, as I said, I'm going to drop a gas shred. Okay, so this you can find in the shape as well. You can add shredding here. I'm going to do it outside. You have a bit more control. And connect that to the last port. There we go. Great. So shredding gives you is really important for flames. So adding some shape to the flames. Okay. So it's if we look at the binding, we can see it's working on the velocity. Okay. And using the temperature as well to kind of shape the flames and give us some more interesting shapes, right? So you've got this kind of stretching and squashing that you can do. So that, you know, that's literally squashing the shapes of the flames or stretching them out, and basing that on the temperature. Okay, so I'm going to bring this threshold down so it will work at a lower temperature. Right, and sorry, no, not to 0.1, to 0.5, 2.5, excuse me. But I'm going to push the scale up to 1, so the strength of it is much stronger. I think that's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to leave that, go back into full screen here, and run another flipbook. So yeah, as long as you click that button, it shouldn't record over the top. I'll just do another 50 frames, and hopefully we'll see a nice result. There we go. So I've got the two side by side. So on the left here has the shredding, and on the right does not. And I'm sure you'll agree, you know, just with that one microsolver where, you know, we've jumped up a whole other level, and it looks much better to me. Even so, you know, the shredding is acting on the fire itself and the flames, not on the smoke, but you can see the effect on the smoke itself, you know, because the smoke's being emitted from the fire. We're getting much more interesting smoke. We're getting more interesting flames. Let's go to the last frame, maybe. So you can see the kind of shapes. Is, in all honesty, is a bit hard to see with all the smoke in the way. But you can see, you know, these kind of licking, flicking. The movement from the flames there just looks much more realistic, much more natural. Yeah, just a whole lot better here. It kind of looks flat. It's like there's just the emitter on the floor, which is flat, and then lines coming up for the flames. Yeah, just, you know, we're getting these cool kind of licking kind of flame shapes that, you know, look much better. So next we'll go ahead and add the rest of the microsolvers. We won't go into, you know, we're not going to do a flipbook for each of those, as we looked into them quite a lot in the first week. But yeah, then we'll be getting close to our final simulation with that.